What is good, everybody? Welcome to Team COG. Today, like the video title says, we're going to talk about these two themes that are coming out in Burst of Destiny, and are they going to impact the meta? So let's make the video simple and clean and quick. Yes, they are. All right, video over. See you guys. Kidding, of course, kidding. Of course, I would assume you guys would want to know why these cards are going to impact the meta, etc., and like certain opinions I have of these cards, and which of the two are my favorite. So we're going to go ahead and jump into what's coming out in Burst of Destiny. That is Flowonderies and Sword Soul. The two most meta-defining decks that we have seen in a long time are going to come out and actually going to impact the meta, right? I know upon official release, everyone was blown away. Tier 0 Birds, Tier 0 Sword Soul. But then as time went on, everyone's like, oh, these decks actually have flaws, and they're not anything close to being a Tier 0 deck yet. Everything is bound to change. No, of course, it's all by representation. If you tell 5,000 people to play Sword Soul and go to a single tournament, Sword Soul is going to represent and seem to have the ideal that it is a Tier 0 deck when it might not be. But I've watched a lot of videos on multiple of these strategies because, believe it or not, Flowonderies reminds me of True Draco. Your boy here was a True Draco player. Released the piece back in the day, so this deck really reminds me of it, and I kind of have a craving to play this deck simply because it's just very much. It's very interesting in the sense of doesn't have a high ceiling, or it's very combo oriented, but it's very much takes a skilled player to construct your chain links and interactions and stuff so that you have the ability to disrupt your opponent. Plus, Emperor Penguin, which is, you know, the big boss monster, he is remarkable. A big giant skill drain for all attack position monsters. Like, come on, that is insane. So then there's just other things. The card is getting more support in the following set because Flowonderies is going to be getting a quick play rota for the deck. You have England, which searches out any of the monsters, and every card banishes, which is crazy. So it allows this endless loop of resources. This is why I believe that this deck will be good. I have long stated that control decks have fallen out of favor due to the fact that control decks cannot keep up with combo decks, except for Eldritch. And the reason that Eldritch can do this is because Eldritch is able to recycle all their cards during the end phase, allowing them to keep up with combo. One-for-one trades are no longer good in the game, and believe it or not, this is pretty much what Flowonderies does. Flowonderies just has the ability to continually recycle their stuff from the banished, so that you're always going to have a follow-up, you're always going to be able to keep in that grain game and keep up with the mass advantage that combo decks get. And on top of that, they have some crazy trap cards. They have a trap card that lets you tribute summon during your opponent's turn, and then if you tribute summon a level 7 or higher, you get to Book of Moon the entire field. And they have like cards like Mega Monarch Ryza that lets you like non-targeting bounce back to start rigging the top deck of your opponent. Gets that board or the game into a simplified state. You can play Mist Valley Apex Avian, which if you were going to tell me that you're going to normal summon Apex Avian in 2021, I was going to be like, no, you're crazy, man. We're just going to summon this thing out, special summon it, right? No. But for the most part, guys, this is my opinion right here. I think Flowonderies is the first deck that we've talked about, but it's also going to be the best out of the two. And the reason I say that is because the deck is just very consistent. It's going to get even more consistent. Like the new stuff coming out for Sword Soul doesn't make it more consistent, but given Sword Soul has everything it needs, I think it's going to be very interesting to see which direction these decks go. And I don't know which one I'm going to pick up yet. I do have the intention of picking up one, so we'll just have to kind of, you know, wait and see, you know. So, but that's my opinion of Flowonderies. Deck's really cool. I think the artwork is very interesting. For me, being a very, like, artwork is very key to how I want to play a deck. For the artwork being kind of goofy and fun and just having a bunch of birds on it from different regions and different area, my inner patriot sings to England. So, like, the deck is very interesting in that aspect. The play mechanic and the play summoning style reminds me, like I said, a lot of True Draco, which I believe is why I'm being drawn to it, because you can play floodgate cards like Monarch Storm 4. No, not Monarch Storm 4. What is that? Monarch's Erupt. Yeah, how could I forget that card? You can play cards like that because it just has a tribute summon monster, etc. Like it's just really, really crazy. And the fact that Emperor Penguin is a giant skill drain, so even if they get rid of all your back row, Impen is just sitting there saying, all right, well, you better have something for me as well. But now moving on to the next deck that's coming out in Burst of Destiny, and that is Sword Soul. So Sword Soul here is probably, upon release, my favorite. Like, as soon as they showed me these cards, I was like, wow, aesthetically wise, these cards fit me. Like, I want these cards. They're worms, they're one card synchro 8s, they have tons of combos. The Tactician pitches from the hand to special summon. That is right down my alley. And then I started watching gameplay after gameplay after gameplay, and I realized the deck is consistent, just like Flowonder. The deck has very powerful boss monsters, just like Flowonder, but the deck has a very low ceiling. Very, very low ceiling. And that is something that I did not like. Like, for me, being a combo player, maybe it's also like this by all means is always my opinion, guys. Do not take it as gospel. If you want to play this deck, if you fit this deck strategy, go ahead. This deck at first appeared to me as a very combo deck, but after watching multiple deck profiles, multiple like testing sessions of it, the deck is very mid-range. You have 1 or 2 card combos that get you to 1 to 2 interruptions, and then sometimes you can get to the 3rd interruption, which is the trap, and then you sit on a bunch of hand traps, and then you have recursion, you put a lot of pressure and stuff like that. I do believe that this deck will be the most expensive, simply because it has a lot of hype behind it. I do believe they are more secrets and ultras in the set that are these guys, so Konami's really trying to push these guys, but you just have a lot of utility in this deck because of the worms. If you want to, you can play the Tinny package, which you not only, the deck has like a in-themed Rhoda, but then you're going to have an in-themed Foolish Burial. You can play like the Tinnies, like Vishuda, Ashuna, Adhara and stuff like that, and then you can do some crazy Tinny combo routes, which I kind of liked, being able to put up like Sashara plus like the level 8 that's a negate plus a banish, but I just found like this deck really did not kind of fit me. It seemed very linear, very straightforward, and it just seemed like this just wasn't my style. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What's my style, what's not. Is this deck going to be good? Yes, this deck will be good, and the way this deck is going to reshape the meta is we have another consistent 1-card combo deck that gives you to multiple, or 1-card mid-range deck. You know, mid-range is a mix between combo and control, but a 1-card combo dot deck that is able to get you to more disruptions than what you put in. Simply by normal summoning Moye, you practically are guaranteed to get to 2 disruptions. So that means 1 card gets you 2 disruptions. And then if you open like Moye plus Tactician, which you don't have to search Tactician off of your Zhang or the Chingy Ching, the Chao Dei, or Chaozong, the Grand Swordmaster, since you don't have to use your search for the Tactician, you have a 2-card combo, or 2.5, because you have to have a pitch for the Tactician, a 2.5-card combo that gets you to 3 disruptions. The counter trap, or not the counter trap, the trap that pops multiple back rows and stuff, like just pops cards, Icarus attack pretty much. So this is where this deck is going to kind of thrive in the setting, is that it has, again, 1 and 2 card combos that get you to more than what you put in. Some of the best hands that this deck has can put out only like 3 interruption boards, guys. Like, it's insane. And you would think that a deck like this can do some crazy stuff, you know. The concept of it is very interesting. There's tons of like flaws for these strategies as well. Like I said, these decks are good. They're going to shape the meta, but I don't think we're going to have any tier 0. Sword Soul loses to Token Collector, which I've seen tons of those. That card's been moving a lot back and forth. Even at my locals, people have been searching for them, trying to get Token Collectors. And then this Flow Wonderies, of course, you know, they're a Tribute Summon archetype. They're going to lose 2 cards that like Mask of Restrict and stuff like that. So if you happen to not be able to, like, you have to main deck those out or side deck those outs, etc. Because like when you go into the following turn or the following game and you get Master Restrict, there's really, unless you open any sort of removal, there's really no way for this deck to be able to out it. I mean, I think you can go into your extra deck, which would be like Nightmare Phoenix and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, this deck is like, Flow Wonderies utilizes like extravagance and stuff like that. You need to keep the resource and everything up. But anyway, guys, that is it for the video. This is my hot take, real quick, real simple, on these 2 archetypes that are coming out in Burst of Destiny. And yeah, like I said, my final thoughts on these 2 very well made archetypes. We've really needed these types of, like, we need these decks to come out because the format has been getting stale. We've had the same decks for you know, almost a year. Like, we've been playing the same deck. Strategies have stayed the same. The ban list came through and didn't really do much of anything. So like, we still have Tri-Brigade, Drytron, Virtual World, you know, like these same Eldritch, like all these, like, I mean, it's nice because like we always, as players, we always complain when there's a tier 0 format, but then we also love when there's like multiple decks that are good, but then when we're stuck in it too long, we start to complain and need something to spice it up. So the fact that 2 decks are coming out, they're going to be 2 new contenders to fight for that first place as being the best deck. It's going to be pretty awesome. What deck are you guys going to choose? What deck are you excited for, and what deck are you going to pick? Comment down below and let me know. But without further ado, guys, please remember, stay safe, stay healthy. This is Charles from Team COG, signing out.